There is a force, not seen but felt, not named in common speech but spoken by the soul. It moves through rivers, but is not water. It rides the wind, but is not air. It enters through the breath, but does not end with it. This force is Ashé. I am Obatala, and I have walked upon this earth since the moment land rose from the waters. I have shaped clay into life, but it was not my hands that gave them motion. It was the Ashé that flowed through them. Today, I will reveal the sacred mystery of this force, what it is, where it comes from, how it lives in the Orishas, in the earth, and in you. Because once you understand Ashé, you will never see the world the same again. Ashé is not simply energy, though many try to describe it that way. It is more than power, more than movement. It is the will of the divine made real. It is the breath of Olodumare that still echoes through creation. When the rain falls at the right time, when the words of an elder bring peace, when the drum calls a spirit back home, that is Ashé. It is not a thing. It is a presence. It is the invisible essence that causes life to grow, decisions to form, and destinies to unfold. Ashé is the force behind the spoken word. When a prayer is uttered with truth, it carries Ashé. When a blessing is offered with sincerity, it transfers Ashé. Even silence, when aligned with purpose, holds Ashé. In the Yoruba world, nothing exists without Ashé. Not a leaf, not a stone, not a moment. You see a child take their first breath, Ashé. You plant a seed and it grows, Ashé. You speak from your heart and the room falls silent. That is Ashé responding. It is in the taste of sacred food, in the smoke of incense, in the rhythm of the dancer who no longer dances but is danced by the spirit. Ashé cannot be bought. It cannot be stored. It is not owned. It is honored. It is attracted through alignment and lost through neglect. And yet, even when forgotten, Ashé remains, waiting to be remembered. To speak of Ashé is to speak of Olodumare. For Ashé does not exist apart from the source. It is not scattered randomly, nor born of lesser forces. It comes from the first breath, the original silence that opened into sound. When Olodumare willed creation into being, he did not use hands, he did not shout, he breathed. And that breath, that divine vibration, is Ashé. It moved through the heavens, through the waters, through the earth that was still unformed. With that one breath, rivers knew how to flow, trees knew how to grow, winds knew how to carry life across distance. Ashé is not simply divine energy, it is divine authority. It is the command behind existence, not a suggestion, not a potential, but the will of Olodumare made real. He gave Ashé to the Orishas, not as a reward, but as a responsibility. He placed it in the hands of those who would shape, guide, and protect creation. Each Orisha received a portion according to their nature. Sango received the Ashé of fire and justice. Oshun, the Ashé of sweetness and fertility. Ogun, the Ashé of transformation and iron. Yemanja, the Ashé of nurturing and oceans. Even I, Obatala, was given the Ashé of wisdom and form, to mold, to care, to uphold balance. But never forget, no Orisha owns Ashé. We carry it, we channel it, we answer to it. And even the smallest ant, the gentlest breeze, the quietest tear can be filled with Ashé, if it is aligned with Olodumare's will. This is why in the Yoruba tradition, every act is sacred. Every word matters. Every offering, every movement, every silence can either open or block the flow of Ashé. It is not about noise, it is about alignment. because the source does not force, it flows. And if your life flows with it, then you walk not just as a human, but as one who remembers the original breath. Ashé is not locked away in the heavens. It was never meant to be hidden. It flows, constantly, quietly, through all things that live, move, and mean. You will not see it with your eyes, but you will feel it if your spirit is awake. Ashé manifests in nature, in the rising of the sun, in the sacred rhythm of waves against the shore, in the stillness of the forest before the storm. Not just beauty, but sacred power, carrying the signature of the Creator. It is in the leaves that heal, the roots that restore, the fire that transforms, the earth that holds memory. When the wind changes direction and something within you shifts, Ashé has passed. It manifests in ritual, when water is poured with intention, when smoke from burning leaves spirals into the unseen, when the voice of a Yoruba priestess rises in praise. Ashé is not only present, it is activated. In the drum, Ashé finds rhythm. In dance, it finds form. In silence, it finds focus. Ashé is not about noise, it is about alignment. It lives in the words we speak, especially when those words carry truth. A blessing from the heart is not just sound, it is Ashé, moving between souls. It lives in food when prepared with sacred intention. It lives in hands when they serve, protect, or create. Ashé is in grief that transforms, in joy that nourishes, in resilience that refuses to break. It is in the presence of the elder whose silence speaks more than words. It is in the child whose laughter carries healing. And yes, Ashé can even pass through pain, if that pain leads you back to truth. Because Ashé is not perfection, it is presence, it is intention, it is the divine will in motion, waiting for those who remember how to move with it. The Orishas were not created to be worshipped blindly. They were shaped to carry Ashé, to hold it, to guide it, to deliver it where it is needed most. Each one was entrusted by Olodumare with a portion of the divine force, not equal in measure but perfect in purpose. Ashé flows through them as blood flows through the body, each Orisha a unique vessel, each one a living current of sacred responsibility. Sango carries the Ashé of fire, justice, and divine authority. His thunder is not just sound, it is the roar of truth correcting what has been twisted. Oshun holds the Ashé of sweetness, fertility, and grace. Her waters cleanse the heart, heal the womb, soften what has become hard. Ogun channels the Ashé of transformation, innovation, and strength. His iron clears paths, cuts through illusion, and builds what has never existed before. Yemanja bears the Ashé of motherhood, protection, and the vast unknown. She holds the tears of the ancestors and rocks the spirit gently until it remembers peace. Even Eshu, so misunderstood, carries the Ashé of motion, choice, and divine chaos. He opens and closes roads. He does not punish, he redirects. And I, Obatala, I hold the Ashé of clarity, wisdom, and form. I shaped the first bodies, and with each imperfection, I learned that compassion is also Ashé. But know this, the Orishas do not hoard what they carry. They share it, with the earth, with the initiated, with those who approach in reverence. When a devotee enters trance, when a ritual is done in harmony, when an oriki is spoken with clean heart, the Ashé of that Orisha responds. It is not acting on its own, but in line with Olodumare's will, because Ashé is sacred, and those who carry it must be accountable. To walk with the Orishas is to walk with currents of living power, not to control them, but to flow with them. Many believe that Ashé lives only in the sky, only in the Orishas, only in sacred places far from daily life. But that is not true. Ashé also lives within you. From the moment your soul chose its path, from the moment you received your Ori, your inner head, your divine compass, you are marked by Ashé, not as a visitor but as a dweller. You do not have to search for Ashé in temples alone. It lives in your breath, your choices, your voice, your silence. Every time you act with truth, you release Ashé. Every time you resist injustice, you protect Ashé. Every time you love without condition, you expand Ashé. But just as fire can be dimmed, Ashé can be neglected. When you betray your purpose, when you speak without meaning, when you take without offering, you block the flow. Not because Olodumare has withdrawn, but because you've turned away from your own light. To carry Ashé is not to feel powerful, it is to feel responsible. For your words, your intentions, your steps in the world. In the Yoruba tradition, this is why we speak slowly, why we greet one another with respect, why we offer before we ask, because each act, no matter how small, has the power to awaken or silence Ashé. Your Ori, your inner divinity, is the house where your personal Ashé lives. And when you honor your Ori, when you feed it with good choices, right thoughts, sacred actions, your Ashé grows strong. It becomes clear in your path, steady in your hands, and alive in your presence. You do not need to be a priest or a master or a saint. You only need to remember you were born with Ashé, and it is your task to let it shine. You have heard much today. About wind and fire, about Orishas and ritual, about clay and breath and the source. But the most important truth is this: Ashé is not far away. It is already within you. It is not something you must earn. It is something you must remember. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you treat others, the way you honor your own soul, these are the channels through which Ashé flows. You are not just a body, you are a bridge between earth and Orun. You are a vessel for sacred force, and how you carry that force matters. There will be days when you feel disconnected, when the world feels heavy and your light feels dim. Even then, Ashé remains, even when forgotten, even when misused, even when ignored. Ashé does not leave you. It waits. And the moment you realign, the moment you speak truth, the moment you choose reverence, Ashé begins to move again. Because it is not perfection that opens the way, it is intention. Walk gently, but walk with certainty, because your life is not ordinary. It is charged with the same breath that gave birth to stars. And every time you honor that, you honor Olodumare. If this message stirred something in your spirit, let that be the beginning of your remembering. Like this video. Share it with someone who carries light but may have forgotten, and subscribe so that together we may continue walking the sacred path. In our next journey, we will explore Ori, the divine head within, your compass, your destiny. Until then, carry your Ashé with grace, speak it with care, live it with honor, because wherever Ashé flows, life follows.